Try to keep things very simple so everyone can follow along. First, I'll press X and delete this cube. Press Shift A and then add a circle. Head to edit mode by pressing Tab. Press E and then S to scale inside. Now we have made a hole. We are going to use shape keys to make a closing and opening for this hole. We can just scale it a little bit, like 0.9. And let's get started with the shape keys. Now go to Object Data Properties and inverted triangle with 3 dots. Under Shape Keys, you can click on this plus. Remember, if you are in edit mode, you won't be able to click it, so press tab to switch to object mode. Now this shape key holds the base mesh, this base shape, so you shouldn't modify it. Now let's add another one. This shape is where we will store our animation. Before you head to edit tab and start editing the mesh, make sure you turn this value to 1 so that Blender knows you're not just modifying the mesh but also using a shape key. Now press tab and enter to edit mode. Press yes and scale it. Press tab to exit edit mode. Now if you slide this value slider, you should see the eye open and close. While using shape keys in huge projects, it will be really tedious to come here and then adjust this value every time. So we will just add a driver and then a control empty to make this easier. Now we will add an empty arrow here and then we'll move it upwards to close this eye, which means when the arrow is down here, the eye should be open, and when we move it, it should close. So we will have to move this value slider to 0. Now press Shift A and then add a single arrow. Now the arrow is down here. We want to make it close the eye when we move it upwards. Now click on your circle mesh again. Under value, press right click and then add driver. Now this driver tab is not as complicated as it looks. Under object, choose this empty arrow you added. Since we want to close the eye when we move it upwards, which is Z axis, choose Z location. Now if you move it in the Z axis, it should open and close your eyes. If you move this arrow way too much in the Z axis and then lose sight of it. So we will be adding a constraint to limit this. Before that, we should lock the movement on X and Y axis. So press N while having the arrow selected. Then lock the X and Y. Now if you select the arrow and try to move it in the X and Y, it won't move. Let's limit the Z range as well. While having the arrow selected, go to constraints, add limit location, tick Z, set it to 1 meter. Now this arrow can only move for 1 meter. And it works perfectly. Now knowing how the shape key and the control rigs work, if you watch other tutorials where they teach you how to retake face using shape keys, it will be much easier to understand. See you in the next one.